If you can give one piece of advice for a beginner videographer, what would you say they should start doing to kind of get into the game?
Rather than just taking on any and everyone as a client,
Right.
no, being selective, selecting who you want as your client. Everything is spiritual. You don't know who you're about to make an agreement with. Just make sure you're making agreements with the right people.
When you're dealing with a client, when you're first setting up, I guess, the terms, what are steps do you think you should definitely have established before you agree to go and take them as a client?
I would say the first steps that you need to do is you need to figure out what's going on, y'all. It's your boy Jason, and I want to welcome you to the Good Look Podcast, where we talk everything family, faith, film, and finances. Today on episode number 1, I have a good friend of mine here, Matt with Uptown Views Media. He is an up-and-coming cinematographer and videographer located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Matt, welcome to the show. Glad to have you on board.
What's up,
Thank you for coming through, bro, and blessing me with your presence, man. How you doing today?
Man, feel good. It's kind of crazy to be in a setup like this, you know what I'm saying? Like this, the first one. Yeah, man, I feel good though, bro. Feeling good.
That's what it is, bro. So, like I said, bro, everything about this podcast is faith, family, film, finances.
Right.
And I know our lives touch base on every single one of those scenarios, every single one of those topics, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just to get started, can you just tell the people who you are, what you're currently doing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So first of all, government. So Matt Hoo-Hing, that's her name. You know what I'm saying? So Chinese Jamaican here from Canada. His family immigrated to Canada back in the 70s. Has born, 84. So 84 baby. So 80's baby. So I ended up moving to the States. Never thought I'd be living here, honestly, because I love American culture, but I just never imagined moving down here, right? So probably 2015, I really got my hands deep into the video game. Videography game, I should say, that cinema, film, all that kind of stuff. Grew up watching movies and some movie buff, reenact that kind of stuff. But I had a concept of an idea for a film or a documentary more so.
Yeah.
And it was kind of burning in my head. And my friends I had currently weren't into that kind of stuff. It was more so just, this is regular 9 to 5, that kind of stuff. But I had an idea in my head I wanted to get out, right? So just like how, God puts people in your life sometimes, I met someone from a nonprofit and they actually, had a good conversation and they liked my idea, right? And they go, I can help you get a grant for that. So they actually are able to help me get a grant, $10,000 grant, produce the film. The name of the film was Original Screwface. And if you're not familiar, you're Jamaican, so you heard the term Screwface before.
Yeah.
But down here, some folks are like, what does that mean? It's like mean mugging, grilling, to stare at somebody.
So, not to cut you off, but let's just rewind just a little bit, bro. So, Chinese Jamaican.
Right.
Who on your family is Chinese?
Oh, so my great grandfather is Chinese. And then my grandma was born in Jamaica, and then they met and that leads to all of us, right? I took my mom's last name, so I didn't take my dad's last name.
I got you. Have you met any of your family that is more so Chinese than Jamaican?
Well, if you've been to Jamaica, you know how there's out of many one people, right? So there's every kind of Jamaican you can see, but I have family that looks full of Chinese, and then strictly beer patois comes out of them mouth, right? So how it goes already. But yeah, man, those ones though, unfortunately, they passed on. But I mean, most of the family actually moved to Canada.
Wow.
The main tribe, I should say. We have family in England. I have some family in the States as well, Florida, New York, and that kind of stuff. But
so I know that you never expected to move here to the States, right? What was it? Me growing up here in the States, I have never been to Canada, so I'm just curious. Like, what is it like in Canada? How was growing up in Canada, and how does it differ from here in the States?
I've been there for about 8 years now, so the biggest difference I notice is more so just, I guess it's regional here. So in Canada, we're a true melting pot of different cultures. So we're exposed to things from around the world because of the influence of obviously French, Canada, that's second language
Yeah.
besides English. England's influence on Canada, all these things that affected how your worldview is gonna kind of be. Plus, we
Gotcha.
got the Queen and the money. You know what I'm saying? So we
Okay.
see all that kind of stuff. So the difference is we have I would say more not to talk down or anything, but like a more worldly kind of view
Mm.
on it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Americans they know who they are in the sense they're proud Americans, so they're very boastful and proud.
Yeah.
Canadians are typically seen as timid and friendly and nice and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I see. But also what I guess the influence though that you guys have to Canada, just like the world, is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Music, culture, food and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have our own scene as well, but you guys have you guys set the trends. That's what I'm pretty much gonna say, right?
I
So
got you.
obviously me growing up, young kid, loved hip hop, loves of sports figures and that kind of stuff. You guys are it, you know what I mean, when it comes down to it. So that's why like even girls and that kind of the American, sweethearts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of those are things that really kind of attract us to the American culture, right? The vibe and everything.
No, I got you.
So that's
Nah, that's it's kind of crazy to hear you talk like that because like this is all I've ever known, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like this is just life.
hmm
But for you to have that perspective of like I guess you could say the American culture, how it influences the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like when you grow up in it, you don't think that. You just think like this is life,
This is it
but
right here.
it's cool to hear that, man. And
Mhm.
so I'm asked all the time how I'm able to achieve a great image, great sound, and great colors. So I wanted to provide you guys with a document that would allow you to produce the same quality within your own productions. So if you check out in the description below, there's a link to my complete gear list where you'll be able to find the same equipment that I'm using to achieve the look and the sound and produce that within your own production. Check out the link in the description below and download my gear list today. In Canada, is that where like your whole filmmaking journey started?
Yeah. Like I said before, so we grew up on like, movies. My uncle used to sell like VHSs for one of his businesses. So like I go to his house and have like tables of this just tons of movies. So I go there, he goes, pick whatever you want. So I'm grabbing some classic joints, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Commando, Conan, or just old school joints, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyways, that really kind of led me to the creative side, the
Mhm.
imagination, right? And then what kind of led me to it, I got a camera. I think it was probably around 2010, like a little handheld camera joint, whatever.
Yeah.
For my mom because she got it for me. So I used to bring that around. I actually do little interviews here and there, but nothing too serious.
Okay.
And then eventually, when I had the idea for the film, I was like, I need to go in, right? So
I got you.
I ended up getting a Canon 60D
Okay.
DSLR. So I got to start somewhere. But
Yeah.
I got kit lens, 50 millimeter lens, and I kind of really just started doing it, right? Just kind
Yeah.
of had to.
It's crazy that you say it like that, right? You say like, I started out with the Canon 60D, right? Because it to me, it seems like you feel like, man, a Canon 60D isn't really that great of a camera.
Right.
But when you got that camera, it was that great of a
Oh,
camera to you, you know what I mean? It was
yeah.
like the whole world. So like I totally understand, bro. Like you mentioned earlier how just being in this room or whatever, there's a lot of gear around, right?
Mhm.
But gear really isn't, it matters, but to me it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Really, it's great to be able to get a great image, great sound, great lighting,
Mhm.
right? But
Right.
really it's that passion when you first got that 60D. Like that's what to me matters more than even the gear.
Yeah.
It's the passion to pick up the camera and actually do the thing, right? We were just talking
Right.
about
Yeah.
that. It's about doing the thing. Not so much if you have the best gear or if you look the best. It's just about doing it. And so when your uncle gave you those movies,
Mhm.
was there anyone that kind of stood out that you remember that was like, yo, this inspired me to want to pick up a camera and start my own film?
Um, I don't know if one movie actually got me to want to pick up a camera, but there's certain films that like help my creativity and this storytelling. That kind of
What film would you say stands out to mind when you think of that?
off the top of the head, I'd probably say Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That
Okay.
was like 1982, I think it came
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
was introduced to those films because my uncles were older than me, so they put me on to certain films that like I shouldn't be watching at the time, or
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger, all that kind of stuff. But I would still, I'm a kid, I'm curious, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I say that one too off the top because the story in that is deep. If you've
Mm.
seen the movie, you know what I'm saying? His family gets massacred in the beginning.
Mm.
He gets sent to like a slavery camp. He builds his body. He becomes like a super strong like warrior. They
Yeah.
send him to some fighting pits. Eventually, he gets trained by the Mongols. He gets freed. Avenges his family. It's ill, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
story behind that is just it's crazy, right? I guess one of the modern stories, I guess, are
Kind of sounds like The Gladiator.
yeah, it is. It's very
Yeah,
similar,
that's my
right?
favorite movie.
Is it?
Yeah, The Gladiator. It's one of my favorite movies. Well, I'm still would say it's my favorite movie. Just the story alone, bro. How
Maximus
he went
Decimus
from
Meridius.
Maximus was the man.
Dangerous
Maximus
man.
was the man.
Yeah.
But keep going, bro. Sorry about that.
No, it's good, man. So pretty much is this stuff like that. Those kind of things kind of got me kind of thinking. There's one more thing I'll say. So while I was in the in between time of trying to decide what I should do with this whole film concept or an idea,
Yeah.
they have in Toronto, they have what's called Hot Docs documentary.
Okay.
So it's a film festival. So it's pretty much all documentaries they have. They can go there and obviously submit your film. If you win, cash prize, accolades, that kind of stuff. So I volunteered.
Mm.
So I'm around the mix. I'm getting meeting new different directors. I'm kind of just, just kind of rubbing shoulders a little bit.
Yeah.
And then also in school, I just probably back up to you. I took film studies in school as well. So that kind of
Okay.
fostered it even more.
Yeah.
And then, like I said before, once I met the woman at the non-profit,
Yeah.
she told me to come through, got me some connections, got my 60D, and now she put me in front of some folks who actually, can help get my, documentary off the ground. And then now I'm rocking and rolling. It was kind of one man band, So
Nah, I totally, if anybody understands, bro, I understand.
yeah.
I totally understand. So when it comes to like that lady that you met getting the grant, like maybe talk a little bit about that, right? Because myself, I have never taken advantage of a grant, right?
Okay.
So like, how did that whole process work for you?
Now, I'll say this.
So wait, let's go back even a little bit further, right?
Right.
So you said you took film studies in school.
Yeah.
Was this high school? Was this college?
Okay, so yeah, so it was
It
college.
was in college.
Yeah, so it was just a course, yeah. So film
Okay.
studies regarding like studying different cinema styles, cinema verite, and like cinema noir, those kind of old school, real technical aspects of it.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and then obviously watching a lot of old classic films. So that really kind of gave the history of, how cameras developed and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of background was cool to me. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a nerd in that sense. I like that kind of history too.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was just a kind of part of the journey, right? Kind of studying films is essentially what I just wanted to do, and I wanted to be a part of it. So essentially, that kind of just helped aiding and helped me get the confidence to kind of go ahead and do it, because when I decided to go and do the documentary, like I said before, I didn't have many friends and videography wasn't as popular. Nowadays, everyone wants to do videography in some capacity, it seems like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
So I didn't get it. Social media.
It's taking over.
It is,
right?
you know what I'm saying?
It's definitely taking
Yeah,
over.
but like you mentioned before, which is big, like you said, the passion
Yes.
and that kind of thing that's going to sustain you, right? So that's why I was like, that's a good word, you know what I mean? 'Cause that really was what was kind of fueling my desire to even do it. Is I was like, you know what? I have something on my heart. I just need to kind of get it out, right? So I didn't have a team of folks or boys, whoever, who were really pursuing that,
Yeah.
right? So I kind of had to take it upon myself to be like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're not friends or teachers or just working regular jobs. It was just like
Yeah.
no one doing that. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and do that.
Uh-huh.
And I went ahead and I kind of embarked on the journey. And I look back at the film and like, man, I would have done this better. I would have done this better. But like, obviously, this is all with the knowledge of what I have now.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can give myself props, and I need to kind of tap into that part, is like, I just did it. I just started doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like framing wise, shot selection, all that kind of stuff, I can improve on. But the point is, like, you can improve on nothing if you don't just start doing something.
So you made a great point right there, right? So this is episode number 1 of the podcast, right? It was an idea.
Yeah.
And now it's just do it, right?
Yeah.
And even sitting here talking to you, bro, it's kind of like, wow, like, you know what I mean? It's action is taking place. But the crazy thing about doing things, just doing it,
Mm,
is that you learn through experience, right?
yeah.
So I'm sure after you shot your first film or whatever, you probably looked at it and was like, man, this doesn't stand up to whoever you looked up to as a filmmaker or cinematographer, right?
Right.
But that also feeds that passion that you first started,
Keep going.
because it makes you critique your own work and
Right.
say, okay, how can I get better at this?
Mm-hmm.
What did I do wrong? Right?
Right.
What did I do right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's just all part of the process. And I
Yeah.
feel like being creatives as we are,
Mm.
it's a never ending learning process. Like we are
Always.
always learning by failing.
Yeah.
Failing forward, I guess, is
And
what they
that's
say.
fail faster. Yeah, fail forward. That's
Yeah.
true.
And nah, I think that's really cool, man. That's really interesting. How you mentioned those things. It just made me think like, wow, I can totally relate
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean?
So I know I've been firing away with questions, bro.
Yeah.
What you have any questions for me? And we can just
Yeah, but I got a couple off my top of the head. So, um, pretty much, I know I met you through the Lightroom Good. Well, it was Good Look Productions. I guess a campaign you guys had for a workshop,
yeah, with the daylight room.
the Daily Room.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah, pretty much your story though. I never asked you like, how did you get first in the game? How long you been doing it for? What what really set you off in that
I
area?
got you. I got you. So for me, becoming a videographer, I guess is what you want to call it, right? I don't call myself a videographer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I identify myself as a video strategist.
Nah. Okay.
Yeah,
Why?
right.
Why is that?
The reason why I identify myself as a video strategist is because when you're a videographer, you're just shooting to shoot, to
Mm-hmm.
deliver someone something, right?
Right.
I call myself a video strategist because now when I pick up the camera and I shoot something for someone else,
Right.
I'm being strategic with what we're shooting so that it can create whatever it is that they need for their business, right?
Facts.
So it's strategy comes first. Strategy is, okay, figuring out what is the problem with this person's business.
Mm.
What are they failing in? What is the pain point? How can I use video
Just to solve that problem.
to solve their problem? Sales at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? So you understand.
that's facts.
So it's video strategist is what I consider myself, because it's using strategy to solve my client's problem, whoever it might be, right? But I got started into videography because I make music. I do Christian hip hop, right?
Right.
And man, it was in 2000 and I think 2011 is when I picked up my first camera, 5D Mark III. It's over there on the shelf. Yeah, still got it, bro.
OG, yeah.
Yeah, OG, bro. 5D Mark III. And I got started in videography because I was recording music.
Okay.
And I was mixing and mastering my own music
Mm-hmm.
to the best of my ability.
Right.
Right. And after I recorded this mixtape that I was putting together,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what, man, I've learned how to record my own music, set up my own studio, mix my own music.
Yeah.
I need to learn I need a video, right?
Visuals. Yeah.
Right. If you're a rapper, you're an artist, you got music, you need a video,
Yeah.
right?
Visuals.
So boom, I ended up buying a camera. After I bought the camera, I shot my first music video.
You bought it yourself, or you got
I shot it solo, bro. Solo. So I bought the 5D Mark III solo. I think I don't even remember how much it was at the time.
Right.
But I bought the 5D Mark III, and then I had this song. It was called Too Fast.
Right.
And I shot the music video for it.
Mm-hmm.
And after I shot the video and I was looking back at the footage, I fell in love with video, bro.
That was it.
That was it.
Spark, yeah.
It was just like, oh wow, right? This is dope. And at the time, watching the video that I shot, I thought it was fire, right? I thought it was dope. But now looking back at it, it was like, yo, Jay, yo, this is trash. You know what I mean? But it sparked something in me.
Yeah.
And that was my quest to achieve, that started the quest to achieve good look.
Okay.
Right? I wanted it to look good. I wanted my videos to look good compared to what you see in movies, what you see on TV. Like, okay, how can I get my production value to that level?
Yeah.
And that's really how I got started, man. And then from there, I found difficulty
Mm-hmm.
with shooting my own music videos
Right.
because it can be challenging being behind the camera and in front of the camera
Yeah.
at the same time, right? When it comes to composition, framing, exposure,
Right.
it's difficult. Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth. And
Did you have a support system? Did you have people that
I didn't have a support system, bro. Like I was at the time when I got started, I was like not I wouldn't say I just got saved, right? Because I always believed in God since I was a kid. I always believed in God.
Right.
And I grew up in a Christian home. So like my parents instilled that in me and just led me in the right direction.
Right.
And along the way, being a young man, you know, you bump into the world and different things, and my perception of what life really was
Right.
was mixed up based on the music I was listening to, the
Gotcha.
things I was watching, right?
Where you from?
Brooklyn.
Where you from?
Yeah,
Okay,
from
NYC.
Brooklyn, New York. I was raised in Florida, Southwest Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. And so music was a heavy influence on my life.
Right.
And long story short, I ended up getting back into the church. I hit a real slump in my life and started going back to church at a later age in my life for myself,
Right.
rather than my parents taking me to church. And that man, like that's when Christ changed me, right?
Around what age were you at?
This was in 2010, so that was 14 years ago. So I was 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 24. And so I was in this time of my life where I just got saved. The people I was hanging out with, I wasn't hanging out with anymore because I'm living a different lifestyle.
Yep.
And I'm talking about things that don't relate to how they're living. So it was kind of like I was in a separation.
Yeah.
And I needed it. I needed it. But long story short, during this time of separation,
Right.
I stopped making music at the time, and I was just like getting into the Bible heavy.
Right.
And learning more about my faith, learning more about Christ, learning more about Jesus, period. And understanding what life is really all about at the end of the day. And I couldn't write any music, right? Because at the time I felt like I didn't know what to write about, because I can't write about the life that I was just living, because that doesn't line up with the life that I'm living now. And I haven't had enough experience in this life that I'm living now for me to really talk about, you know, what God has done for me, right? So I was kind of in this period of where I was reading the Bible, learning and growing in Christ. And
well, speaking on that, let's dive into this for a second, because I like where this is going.
Yeah.
So it all ties back to obviously where we are now with your film strategist and everything now.
Yeah.
But is there certain verses of the Bible or anything that really spoke to you and kind of helped guide you along your journey? Anything that sticks out you can think of?
Yeah, there is. Let me find it, bro, because I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it and it not be what the Bible actually says. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna find it for you real quick. Okay, so this scripture right here, I had this dream, and I'm not gonna go into the details of the dream, right? But I had a dream, and it was just a little bit. It was of my father that just recently had passed away. And in the dream, he said something similar to what the scripture said. And I woke up, and when I woke up, the dream was like so real.
Oh wow.
It was so
Vivid.
real, right? So vivid, so real. Like I was really with him. And there was this lady that I knew. Her name was Miss Wilson, right? And I remember one time Miss Wilson had told me to sometimes just open up the Bible and read, and just whatever your eyes land on, read, right?
Yeah.
So after I had this vivid dream, I just opened up my Bible. Like I had to, because it was just that vivid. So I just opened up, and what my eyes landed on is what I read, and this is what I read. And it said, and Jesus said, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. For what is a man's advantage if he gain the whole world and lose himself or be cast away? And then it said, for whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed. Right? But it's really that first part, bro, when he said, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. And I felt like after I had that dream and I read that, it was like, wow, like it hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because in the dream, when I seen my dad, he was asking me if I wanted to come with him in this dream,
Oh
right?
wow.
And I
Well,
was
that's
like,
deep.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course I want to come with you. Like, why would you? Why wouldn't I? Of course I want to come
Yeah.
with you. Because he recently just passed away. So
Okay.
in my head, it's like,
So it's fresh for you. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But when I read that after I woke up, it was like everything lined up.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's the scripture that really stood out that I would say kind of influenced me heavily.
Right.
Heavily. And
No, that's dope, man. That to me is I wouldn't say I can't speak on obviously like what you had to go through in the sense of the loss and everything, but in regards to I guess did you find that like this is the purpose? Do you feel that when you decided to go this road as a video, like I say, strategist now,
yeah,
do you feel like God was leading you in this way? Did you as you were growing, in
I
your journey?
I do. I believe that yo, bro, I so believe that God's been leading me this way
Mm,
for years. But you know what has been stopping me?
what?
I would say it's been um believing that
Mm,
believing that God has wanted me to take this journey,
mm,
right? Why I say that is because like I've always found myself working and like I worked in corporate America for years, like
right.
16 years. I worked in logistics as a manager, running shipping and receiving departments. At one point, I was an operations manager. At one point, I was an inventory control manager for Fortune 500 companies, Walmart, Dollar General, and I was good in those atmospheres, but I
Right.
hated it.
Right.
I hated it. Hated it. I could do my job well, but I hated it.
You weren't too satisfied, Yeah.
Yeah, and on the side, I was doing a lot of creative stuff, recording music, shooting videos, right? And I've just always found myself at this point where it's like, yo, I can't do this anymore. Like this is not what I'm created to do.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So here I am now, right? And really being a video strategist, bro, it's not, yo, I don't got everything figured out. Like a lot of
Right.
people is gonna front and act like they have everything figured out. I don't
Yeah.
have everything figured out. All I know is what I've learned along the way
Mm-hmm.
and what I've learned from other people that I've implemented and has worked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So um now I have, after shooting videos for myself, that led into me shooting videos for other people. I
Right.
started out with music videos. I shot a gang of music videos,
Yeah.
right? And I was getting paid for it, right?
Nice.
But what I found was that a lot of the times, the videos that I was shooting
Mm.
did not line up with who I was now as a Christian. You understand?
Right.
So there was a big, um, like, what is the word that I'm looking for? Like
Disconnect or
internal
internal conflict?
conflict,
Okay.
right? Because I'm shooting videos that
You're
don't
conflicted. Yeah.
yeah,
It's like it's
it
not
doesn't
lining up.
represent the lifestyle that I'm living.
Yeah.
Then I got small kids, so when I come home, I'm editing videos. They want to hang out, and it's like, nah, baby, you can't be in the room
Well,
with
I'm
me.
doing. Yeah.
You
No, I
understand?
got that.
So, and I had this struggle with that for years, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting them, then said, nah, I'm not doing this no more. Then start shooting them because I felt like I needed the bread, and then now I'm not doing this no more.
Balance. How do you balance it? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was going through that and really not understanding like business, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Because if you were, just think about it, when it comes to financial gain or running a business,
Yeah.
how can you show the return of an investment on a music video to a client?
I mean, would you maybe the number of views that technically that's the one way you could show them that
Ret-
your video. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, amount of views,
But I
right?
guess that's
How
sometimes
many views would someone have in order for them to make their money back that they spent shooting that music video?
that's
Don't know. Most rappers don't even know that, right?
yeah.
They just want a video, right? So I spent a lot of time
Mm.
shooting videos, right?
Yeah.
Music videos, which was a good stepping stone,
Mm.
right? Because I learned a lot in
You're
that
right. Yeah.
process. But at the same time, from a business perspective, I don't feel like that was the right route to go.
Got
right?
it. Yeah.
If I could start over from the beginning,
Mhm.
I would have focused on actual businesses.
Well, that's a good question. That's a good segue from my next question I got for you. As I was gonna say, like, if you can give one piece of advice for a beginner videographer, what would you say they should start doing to kind of get into the game?
If I was going to give an advice to a beginner videographer, like you just bought a camera today,
You don't have a camera. You just what you
don't
want.
even have a
This is what you
camera,
want to do.
I would not focus on gear at all. I wouldn't focus on camera. I wouldn't focus on learning how to shoot. I would focus on building your business first. Building your business first means getting your LLC and all of that, whatever it is you want to operate as, set
Right.
up, right? Getting your financial situation set up first so that you can receive money
Okay.
before you even spend a dime on anything. I would also highly recommend you investing in some sort of CRM, creating lead magnets.
Okay.
Uh,
What is CRM for those who don't know? So,
so CRM is I don't even know the definition of it, but a CRM is pretty much where it's your customer. It's like where you have all your customer data,
right.
right? What is a CRM?
Yeah. No, I can't remember. I don't even know myself, so I can't
Yeah,
tell you
off
what
the
it is.
top of
Yeah.
my head, I don't remember what
Yeah.
CRM actually
But
means.
essentially, so generating clientele, is that kind of what it works as?
Yeah, so when you have a CRM, what that is like it's a place where you store all of your contacts that you've met. Like
Gotcha.
people give out business cards,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can either hold on to all those business cards physically,
Mhm.
or you can have an actual digital system where
Okay.
you have all of those contacts listed, how you can email them, text them, call them.
Gotcha.
It's having a database for your customers, right?
Right.
But that's what I would get in place, is having an actual structure, a way to contact potential clients,
Mm-hmm.
stay in contact with potential clients. I would also recommend learning sales
Ha.
because it's not so much about shooting. It's not so much about shooting the video. It's about being able to sell what it is that you do, right? How to navigate a sales conversation,
Right.
because at the end of the day, someone that owns a business is
Yeah.
making an investment to get more money for their business, right? So it's being able to prove to them that you can do that,
Mm.
right? And not, I don't want to say convince, but persuade them
Yeah.
that you are the person that can do it. And hey, these are the results that I've gotten in the
Well, this
past.
is funny because you haven't even touched on gear yet, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I can tell you a little brief story with my gear situation, right?
Okay.
So when I got started with even deciding to go and embark on this journey, the actual open an LLC, and go ahead and get my website and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
situated, I was I had a case of imposter syndrome, but I also had a case of gas.
What's that?
And gas is gear acquisition syndrome, right?
Okay.
So meaning that I had to I have income that
Yeah.
I can I can buy certain things. So I figured, I need to have I want to upgrade a camera.
Yeah.
I called the guy at Cardinal Camera. I was like, hey, I'm looking to get XYZ camera. He goes,
Yeah.
yo, I can give you a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom. Okay. So now I'm in the habit of like, okay, so I got this now. Okay, I'm started now. I think I'm a videographer. I feel like a videographer now. I think I got a camera, this and that. But I'm on 9 now. YouTube is a beast, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
So, oh, a nice little tripod. You get this tripod. You should get this tripod,
Yo,
right?
if you notice, right? Hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you notice, everybody's in sales, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So that's what, as a beginner videographer,
Yeah.
that's what you gotta, because you're about to get into sales, right?
Mhm.
It's not just, hey, look how pretty this video looks, right? Because you can make pretty videos all day long, but if that pretty video is not gonna make your customer money,
Right.
then I'm gonna go mess with somebody that can make me that money,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's which is why, like, obviously my learning lesson and obviously, like, issue has been like, what, pump the brakes, because like you said before, what truly does matter is like your business acumen, and obviously like
Mm.
how you're going to implement, the strategy and sales to kind of build a business,
Facts.
let alone just try to, obviously want to sustain it too. But I was so eager to be in the mix and to, because I think to kind of take away from me even creating content and doing stuff,
Yeah.
I was so eager just to kind of buy gear, just to say, you know what, I got the slider. I'm not using it yet, but I figure if a client wants to have a slider for them, I got one ready.
Likewise.
As opposed to like, well, you have a client yet? You didn't have a client yet.
Yeah.
Nah, but if I got if I get a client, I'm gonna have a slider ready to go.
Yeah.
I got a new gimbal. Okay, but have you used so essentially that kind of what you're saying too is like it doesn't truly matter,
Yeah.
as if I can't convince, persuade, or influence the client to say, you know what, I can help you with this strategy to go ahead and produce some more content to generate more clients for your business
Yeah.
or to spread awareness, tell your brand story, X, Y, and Z. So I totally get that now. So this
Yeah.
is why, I'll share my advice too. Like you can do more with less, honestly, seems like, you know
You
what I mean?
can. You really can. But there is a transition period, right?
Okay.
There's a transition period where you go from doing more with less to now, okay, I know how
Mhm.
to get that return of investment for my client.
Okay.
I understand sales. I have my whole business set up, but you do have to know how to deliver on whatever you're selling that
Facts.
client, right? So you have to know how to shoot as well, right?
Yeah.
That becomes part of it, or you just hire someone that knows how to shoot,
Right.
right? Which is that's a whole nother route. But if you're creatives like us,
Yeah.
we enjoy
You
that
want to
process.
have
You know, you kind of want
it's
your
yeah.
hands on it. It's your baby,
Yeah.
right? And I would say another thing that if I was just beginning, what I would invest in, I would get my business set up,
Right.
right? I would learn sales.
Mhm.
I also would invest in education, right? And when I say education, I mean like having a mentor,
Mhm.
having a coach, seeking out someone that's already doing what I want to do
Yeah.
and learning from them as much as I can.
That's big.
Hey, are you a beginner videographer looking to turn your passion into a thriving business? I want you to join me for an exclusive collaboration call designed specifically for newcomers like you who are ready to make a mark in the world of videography. Whether you're struggling with technical skills, marketing your services, or simply looking for direction, this call is your first step towards a successful career. Click the link in the description below to reserve your spot on our next collaboration call and start your journey to success today. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Bless yourself. Right? That's extremely big. Why? Because you're saving time, right?
Right.
Either you're gonna go figure it out by yourself and
Mhm.
take years, right? Which is what I feel like I've done. It's taken me years
Yeah.
to figure it out. But if I would have at the beginning
Invested
in that, right? Even spending money to spend time with someone that's already doing it just to pick their brain and say, hey, what's the next step that you would take? You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like some people think of investing in gear, right? But if you invest in your own self-education, that's going to take you farther. And that's also going to help you to acquire the gear that you already want
Yeah.
to buy. You know what I'm saying? It might delay the process on receiving the gear,
Right.
but once you have that knowledge, like you can generate as much money as possible. Once you have that camera without the knowledge, it's like you're behind in a sense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, it's almost like you can have all this fancy gear, but really and truly, what are you producing? Is it really going to
Facts.
make a difference? Or so I look at this video. I saw this kid in Africa. He barely had like a regular camera or whatever, but he was able to, composition, frame it, and all that kind of stuff in such a way that I was like, wow, he's so resourceful
Yeah.
and is able to produce this.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually giving him a red Komodo or something,
Yeah.
something crazy that he would just go off, right?
Yeah.
So really and truly, those are lessons. I think that's a good point. You know what I mean? Kind of get that business side on you first because me, like I said, I had gas. I wanted to buy gear just to kind of buy gear to feel like I was in the mix. Because like I said before, I didn't have moving on here, I didn't have a circle of people I knew who were doing that. But now my circle's growing. And then like I said before, how like how God puts people in your life,
Yeah.
certain things happened that I was just like, wow, I met you randomly for a way that I was on the Instagram, I seen the workshop you're having. I was like, yeah, boom. And I got the messages, hey, you won, you're gonna come through. I was like, yo, that just kind of get me, around more like-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? And then I don't have to rush to kind of buy so much gear. I can kind of focus on what I got. If I have book, it's my book, film books and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
YouTube University. I go on there for
Yeah.
hours. But I actually had a DP tell me one time. He goes to me. He's like, "Well, it's good to take advantage of the information we have because we live in the information age. So why not?
Yeah.
But He goes, going to this like YouTube and this studying all day, but not actually doing
Implementing
it,
it?
implementing it
Yeah.
is a waste of time, right? So he
Facts.
goes almost like going to the he's like going to the gym. I'm not going to the gym, but drinking protein shakes every single day.
And not
It's like not working out. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? I like where this is going, man. Like I said, I like the fact that, like I said, the spiritual base, the Christian, like that to me is like foundational. That helps kind of sustain me and drive me
Yeah.
along this whole, you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
mean, I felt lost. I felt like I didn't have any, I didn't have, I don't, what am I doing? I'll say this to the camera too if you find later on, but it's just like what was my purpose, right? So I was like, I think it's 20. I prayed. I literally, it was a prayer. I was like, yo, help show me what I'm, because I was working corporate job too,
Yeah.
and I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I did corporate since I was like 21.
What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like the fact that I wasn't truly being like able to utilize like abilities. I can do sales and cool, but like the creative side I want to kind of implement, I want to do, and then I didn't feel like there's any kind of growth I wanted to achieve. To I was like, well, I see the managers do. It doesn't look like it's a very fulfilling job. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I don't want to do that, but it just wasn't really what I wanted to do. The sales aspect, like you said before, for the business,
Yeah.
which is the foundation. I 100% agree. Which is
Yeah.
why I've done that in the past, and which is why I feel confident. I was like, you know what? I'm working for all these businesses. I'm building them and developing, and I'm trying to sell their business strategy and their product, whatever they're selling. Why not invest that into myself, right? And I get the safety net of having the already established business to kind of support you. You get the benefits, you get all this kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
the satisfaction of like having my business, shooting for clients, helping them strategize what they can or what I can do for them, and then now I receive payment for that.
Yeah.
Like that was like a feeling of like, oh my god, I was like a crazy feeling. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, I feel you. I feel you. I feel like I asked you what you didn't like about working in corporate America because just to see if there's a correlation, right?
mhm,
But what I didn't enjoy about working in corporate America was that I try to put my best foot forward when I do things, bro,
right.
right? And I'm not perfect. So every time it's not like I'm nailing it all the time. Like some people will try to make it seem that way, but that's not the case. And I failed several times in my life, but I try
Yeah.
to put my best foot forward. And what I hated about corporate America was I found myself in rooms with people that really didn't care about what they were doing, right? They
Okay.
were just there to collect a check
Yeah.
and their heart wasn't in what they was doing. So they didn't care if them not doing their job affects you or doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, I'm here, I clocked in, pay me. And that's not everybody,
No.
but I would say the majority when I was in corporate
It's true
America.
because I was even my last job I was working at. It was like doing this to bare minimum. What bare minimum was cool. Just like putting the blame on someone else and not taking accountability,
Yeah,
and it was just the environment. And once again, so that's one thing as well, the toxic kind of environments and
yeah,
everything. And
yeah.
I know you can't avoid that to a certain conflict is going to happen regardless.
Facts.
But it was just more so I was not about to try to be petty. We're adults here, supposedly, right? We're supposed
Yeah,
to have a certain level of behavior, but then this comes down to like, everyone's not raised the same way. Everyone doesn't have the same type of ambition. Everyone doesn't have the same kind of like work ethic and that kind of stuff as you, right? Or
yes.
we say you're making brought up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
gonna live like brought up, you're raised a certain kind of way. Like you leave the house, you're gonna represent me, so you're gonna conduct yourself in a certain manner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, that was one of the things I can definitely relate to, and that I just did not like it with some of the corporate stuff.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And what you know what happened with me was it was that I found myself like trying to overachieve in those circles,
Mm.
right? Because I wanted to. Like I'm very competitive, right? Like competitive very competitive. I like to win. I think everybody
Yeah.
likes to win, right? I don't like to lose.
Mhm.
I don't think anyone likes the feeling of losing. You know what I'm saying? I never have. Not one time have I said I like the feeling of
Yeah.
losing. But losing does create opportunity for you to see where you need to improve so you can win.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to it. But long story short, I was working in that
Mm.
environment trying to be successful.
Yeah.
and then noticing how other people didn't care, it makes it hard for you to be successful. And then it almost puts you in that same place of now, I don't care, just like them. Because it's like, yo, I feel like I can't get to where I'm trying to achieve
Yeah.
because the whole team isn't on the same page. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I really think it starts with leadership, bro. It starts with the leadership, whoever your leadership is,
Yeah.
on down,
Top down. Yeah.
right? Top down. I remember I worked for this guy, um, greatest leader I worked for. His name was Maurice Gray.
Right.
And he was the general manager for a facility that I worked in logistics. And he was like a pit bull,
Mm-hmm.
right? With a heart,
No word.
right?
Yeah.
It was a balance. And he was a great communicator as well. But working for him was great because of the passion that he had, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to work for him, even though he was hard on you,
Yeah.
but he was hard on you because he wanted you to be better,
Better than.
right?
Yeah.
And when you're in environment, and he was verbal about that
Mm-hmm.
and transparent about that, right? Some people will be hard on you just to be hard on you.
Yeah.
And never tell you like, hey, Matt, I'm telling you this not just to critique you, but I'm
Mhm.
telling you this because you got potential and I want to see you become better,
Right.
right? Like after someone's hard on you and they tell you that, how does that make you feel? That makes you feel like, okay, you're not just an a-hole,
Extra
right?
support me. Yeah. You want
Yeah,
me to
you
do.
actually want me to win.
You're right.
And he was that kind of a leader. Like he was hard on you, but it was from a good place. And after working for him, I got an understanding of what good looked like.
Right.
And I got an understanding of how I wanted to lead as well, right?
Right.
And after working for a great leader
Yeah.
and then going to work somewhere else, I found that the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned that you have to be the person that you're looking for,
That's a good point.
right? Like I was looking for that great leadership again and I didn't find it. And I realized that, oh, it's my turn for me to step up and be that leader.
that.
Like I had that guide for that moment and it's only going to last for a moment. It's not
Oh,
going to
really?
last forever.
Yeah.
What are you going to learn from that person, from that moment? And how are you going to carry that with you to everything else that you do? How are you going to be the Maurice Gray for somebody else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like real leadership is about, man. And
No, it's funny you say that because I think about so I used to play basketball in college, and I had a basketball coach, right? And he was hard on us, man. He was he was an old school hard coach. He yelled at you, but and I mean he was like one time I was making a cut, and I wasn't looking at the ball, right? He took the ball, threw it in my head, ball hit me in the back of the head. Somehow, some way, came back to him. He caught it. So everyone's like laughing because it was like, how did this happen? But I was just like, and nowadays, that's this is deemed as like too harsh and whatever. But to me, he had a heart of gold, and he legit loved us. Even though he talks hard, but he's one of those guys that talks hard, but like, all right, yes, Albert, yes, okay, Albert, yes, we understand that. But it was just more so we knew exactly he wanted the best for us, right?
Yeah.
So even to this day now, talk about how can I now be, the better version or new version of that, right? Towards someone else, but also just the way I conduct myself, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, it was a regular practice, but it was just like certain things he wants to kind of ingrain in me to kind of simple things, right? But at the same time, I can relate that to the business now too, because I'm like, you know what? It's the small things. So to kind of circle back to the whole sales business side, the customer service, those simple things are like I had an example of a client I work with, and they are able to give me an amazing reference letter. By taking that letter, I applied for a grant, and I got it. I'm not saying that was the only piece, but I mean the letter was like phenomenal. He really sung high praises of me, right? So I was like, wow, that really. When by that relationship, maintaining it, fostering it, I was able to kind of get that from him, and then boom, something else. Let me somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people put God into your lives for reasons, and it's like you have to realize it. And then I think one of the words I realized that like during this whole journey too that really kind of helped keep me grounded is gratitude. You know what I'm saying? Just being grateful for opportunity. Even this opportunity right here, I didn't imagine like waking up and being like gonna set up like this. This is grateful. You know what I mean? To you, you know what I mean? This is great. You know, like wow, this is dope. We'll see where this can go. You know what we can do. You know for this and this. I was just like, yeah, man. So being grateful and then just trying to stay positive because I wanted to talk about how you deal with like negative thoughts, doubt. You have a business operate, you got family, you have
Mm,
things to maintain, but
yeah.
how do you the enemy will attack you mentally, right?
Yes.
So how do you fortify your mind? How do you stay resilient? How do you kind of defend yourself against when you feel like you're being attacked or you're going through like kind of struggles?
I would say the biggest thing that business, let's just go this way. Business, I feel, is a spiritual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Life is spiritual.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. Ain't no other way around it.
Mm-hmm.
Life is spiritual. So if you are trying to conquer life physically only, you're not going to be successful, right? There's the spiritual element is real, and you have to tap into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the biggest way that I can stay mentally in a great space,
Right.
right? Praying, right? Right? Because you have to, whenever you have those doubts
Yeah.
or you have whatever conflicts you might be having within your business,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have an outlet, right?
Yeah.
And in the Bible, it says to cast all your cares on the Lord, right? Because he cares for us, right?
Right.
So, boom, that's a process that I go through. Whenever I'm in that place, I cast it on him.
Yeah.
And then I find when I cast it on him, right, that God will remind me of his promises that's in his word, right?
Right.
So I go back to the Bible where it says that, right, no weapon formed against you will prosper, right? Or that God has plans for us, right? Plans to prosper us, right?
Right.
So it's like, oh, yo, I got to go back to the source. It's
Mm.
spiritual, bro. I
Yeah.
got to go back to the source because every time I go back to the source, what does he do? He uplifts me, right? Or when I'm wrong, he corrects me. But at the same time, he is all ways to make you better, right? Right?
Indeed.
Right? I always go back to my father. So I say that's the biggest way. And when I find myself being overcome with like doubt,
Mm.
I find that those are times when I'm not in my Bible or when I'm not praying or when I'm depending on myself to make things happen
Facts.
rather than trusting that God is for me
Mm.
and that, he's helped me make it this far,
Yeah.
right? Why is he going to fail me now, right?
Right.
He's never failed me, bro. Not once has he failed me. So I'm a person that I can honestly say that I do have trust issues, right?
Right.
But I found that I can trust in him.
Mm-hmm.
He's trustworthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's faithful. So I would say that's what keeps me going. And also outside of the Bible is what you listen to. Like you are what you eat. People say that, right?
Facts.
You are what you watch. You are what you listen to. What you listen to and what you watch plays a heavy role on the state of your mind,
Yeah.
right? So I like to listen to people that have gone before me that are successful,
Mm-hmm.
that have great advice. There's a guy that I love to listen to now. His name is Jim Rohn. You ever heard of
Oh
him?
yeah. Legend.
Yeah. Yo, legend. Bro, legend.
Yeah.
Right? Motivationally speaking, but from a sales perspective,
Oh, masterclass.
yo.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
top of top. Yeah.
Yo,
He's
bro,
yeah.
from a sales perspective, Jim Rohn is a master, bro. Master. Like I was listening to one of his talks the other day. I like to listen to him because his message is very motivating, right?
Yeah.
Very extremely motivating. But at the same time, if you are keen to sales, you can peep the frameworks that he's putting in place, right? And it's a powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. But at the same time, I feel like the way that he does it is coming from a good place. It's not
Yeah.
coming from a manipulative
Yeah. It's
place,
not.
right?
Oh yeah.
There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of truth to what he be saying. So that's what I do, bro.
No, it's
So
funny because
I pray, I
yeah.
read the Bible, and I listen to other people that have the same morals as me, same
Right.
background as me, same faith as me,
Mm-hmm.
that are on the same journey as me, that are ahead of me, right? Because it's like when I listen to them, they're propelling me forward
Right.
to go into the same direction that they've went. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because so the Jim Rohn piece for a second. So I think he has the one line of it goes act as if. So one of my favorite books of all time is As a Man Thinketh, right?
Okay.
It's by James Allen.
Yeah, never heard of
And
it.
in the Bible, it's obviously says, as a man thinketh, so
So
is
is
he,
he.
right?
Facts. Yeah.
So ultimately, you said before, everything is spiritual. So
Mm.
spirituality, so what it comes down to is your mentals in the mind, right? So that's why I agree with you wholeheartedly. I whenever I feel lost, I feel like defeated, or I feel distracted, what have you, it's because I'm not in my word. I'm
Mm.
not studying, meditating, and then ultimately comes down to, and I say this for myself, I wanted to ingrain this in my kids too and everything. And you said faithfulness, and that is 100% true. But then, by what is our responsibility is to be obedient.
Mm.
And I realize I'm like, wow, when I am obedient, I stop, I focus on that, I'm focus on the Lord. Doors open up, opportunities happen. Like I said before, last Friday, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? Christmas is coming up. I want to be able to get some more money coming in. Hopefully, get an email. Boom. It seemed like out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
But it came from someone who I met last week, who I did a workshop with them, and I'm just like, so you know what I'm saying? Opportunities all the time, right? So, but ultimately, our role, I feel like, and this can apply to whatever we're doing, obviously going forward in
Yeah.
business and life, is to remain obedient in the word. And I
Yeah.
find that, like, honestly, bro, like that is like my thing I'm trying to work on. But also, I feel that when I do maintain and fulfill that and listen to that,
Yeah.
the world opens up and God will continually pour into my life. You know
I agree with you 100%. Why do you think that is?
that what that
That
obedience.
when you're obedient, everything opens up.
I
I have
honestly,
my own thoughts behind it. I'm
yeah.
gonna share it with you, but I want to know what you think.
So ultimately, if I look at it like this, right? So in the Bible, it says certain things that God says, you know, if knock, or asking shall receive, knocking the door shall be open, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially, it's telling you, hey, I've given you the roadmap of what it takes to, for you to, not to say that the hardship's not going to occur, but I also provided you a roadmap of what to do if such things do occur. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the obedience part for me is more so like, if the Lord has already blessed me so much
Yeah.
and has shown me, if He knows what my desires are beyond my own comprehension,
Yeah.
then how a better way to try to manifest that and to reap that than, you know, honor His word, make sure I'm faithful in doing what He tells me to do. So
Yeah.
that's why obedience kind of ultimately will lead me, I feel, to those kind of greener pastures and those kind of revelations, essentially,
Yeah.
because when I feel distracted or lost or I need hardships, that's why I feel like, you know what does God say about that?
Yeah.
And then kind of slow down and then walk it, study it, meditate it, and then wait. And
Mm.
then one thing I'll add before I get your take too is that when he said he goes to wait, but then to wait gracefully,
Mm.
so graciously, you know what I mean? So like, I'm gracious. So I'm not just sitting here like, oh, what's next, Lord? You know what I mean? Like waiting and mulling. You know what? Thankful for the opportunity. Continue to stay in the Word, and then that ultimately will translate to whatever my endeavors are in film. As a husband, wife, father, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what I think.
No, I feel you. I feel like that was solid, bro. And I feel like when it comes to obedience, like there's universal laws, right? And God's word, God spoke the universe
Yeah.
and all things into existence,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that means he knows how things works, right? He knows how things work,
Yeah.
right? So when he says, I want you to do this,
Mm-hmm.
he knows that everything he spoke and said
Right.
was good, right? So if he's directing me to do something,
Mm-hmm.
the end result is going to be
Good.
good, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like
For real.
when you're obedient, it's because he wants you to be obedient, not because God is up there like, oh, you better do what I say. Nah, it's like I could be like, hey, Matt, go put your hand on the stove, right?
Yeah.
Or I could be like, hey, Matt, don't put your hand on the stove, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You choose, right? You can
Mhm.
go put your hand on that stove, it's gonna burn you, and then you're
Free
gonna be
will,
like,
yeah.
ah. And I'm like, yo, I told you, bro.
Don't do
Why? Because I don't want you to be hurt,
facts.
right? I don't want you to struggle. I want you to have an abundant life, is what the word
Mhm.
says, right?
Yeah.
So when we're obedient, it's not about I better be straight. It's about, hey, God knows what's best for me.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what's best for my life. And he's given me his word so that I can have that best life now and forever,
Yeah.
right? So if I listen to what he has to say, I'm going to be blessed. I'm going to have hard times, but thankfully he's a good God. And in his word, he showed me how to get through those hard times.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like obedience is not so much of a salvific issue, I guess that might be
Mhm.
how you say it, right? But it's more so of a how to live life issue. Like
Yeah.
he's given us the code. Like, yo, this is the code.
Yeah.
This is what you do. And we have a nature that is opposed to that code,
Right.
right? Until you accept Christ as Lord, right? And then you
Mhm.
receive his spirit. And from then he empowers you to be able to do those things that you once
Right.
couldn't do. But I feel like obedience is the key. Like when you listen and you do what God says to do, bro, you'll be blessed. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You are blessed, right?
Mhm.
Even despite if things isn't going the way that you want it to go. You know
Right.
what I mean? There's always times in life where I, bro, there's times where I failed miserably. Like
Mhm.
I was in corporate America. This is a story I will forever tell,
Right.
right? I was in corporate America. I quit my job to do video full time,
Okay.
right? To shoot music videos, and it failed horribly. Like I was making the money shooting music videos, right?
Right.
But it was so stressful. I was so convicted and conflicted with what I was doing,
Oh wow.
right?
Yeah, because the
The
content,
people
right?
that the content, and then the people that I'm dealing with, I was dealing with a lot of people that were in the streets, right?
Mhm.
So before I was saved, well, not before I was saved, but before God took a hold of my heart, right? I was in the streets, right?
Mhm.
So I can relate to the streets and I can relate to those type of people,
For real.
right? And I can feel comfortable in certain environments. And when I'm shooting music videos, I found myself back in those environments,
Oh.
back around those type of people. But I found that like those type of people at times don't have your best interests in mind. You were just talking to me not too long ago about a job that you were doing, right? And how I guess the person didn't want to pay you or something like that, right? I always find myself when I'm dealing with certain clients or in certain fields, like those situations come up a lot, right?
Right.
Especially dealing with music videos or dealing with rap artists, like people don't really see your worth or your value.
Mm.
And sometimes people don't want to pay you your worth or your value,
Yeah.
right? And there's a lot of I would say I hit a lot of points where there was a lot of manipulation. Like people try to use you for what you have for their own
Right.
gain, rather than saying, yo, Matt is a great filmmaker, a great cinematographer. He came out here, he shot this. I'm gonna pay Matt his due diligence, what he's
Mhm.
worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's laws, right? And some people don't know that, right? Some
Mhm.
people don't know that there's laws. And if they would do that,
Yeah.
right, you win a solid with Matt, right?
Mhm.
Because now Matt is like, yo, Matt is gonna take care of you all day long. Matt is gonna
For
make
real.
sure you have what you need, right? Make sure you are looking the best, sounding the best,
That's possible.
right?
Yeah.
But when you try to be like, nah, Matt ain't worth it, Matt is gonna look for the person that is worth it. Facts.
For real. Look.
So
Yeah.
what I can say is I found that when I was I don't know where I was going with that, bro, but I guess you could say that's a piece of my past, a piece of history that I had to deal with, is learning to put myself in rooms where people recognize my worth
That's a good point.
rather than putting yourself in rooms where people don't see or value your worth, right?
Mm. Well, that's a good segue. So for the next thing I'd ask too, and this is more of the business side too. So what do you think when you're dealing with a client? I guess when you're first setting up, I guess the terms. What are steps you think you should definitely have established before you'd agree to go and take them as a client?
Okay. So first there needs to be some sort of a verbal agreement of what you're going to do for the client and with the client, right?
Hmm.
Whatever it is, right? Let's say it's a promotional video, right? So the client is looking for a promotional video, right? Um, I would say the first steps that you need to do is you need to figure out if number one, is the client a good fit, right? So
Yeah.
that goes back to me shooting music videos for so long and realizing, yo, these people aren't good fits because they don't line up with who I am as a person. Their values don't meet my
Right.
values, right? It doesn't make sense for us to do business, right? I had myself in the wrong circles. So number one, is this client a good fit,
Hmm.
right? So that goes by, asking them questions, right? You
Right.
have to find out about them, find out about their business, find out about their values and what they're trying to achieve, who they're trying to serve. Let's find out if we're compatible, right?
Facts.
Because it's not all about money. It's not all about money.
No,
It's
all
about
money ain't
building.
good money. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
all money isn't good money. It's about building good relationships. So number one, is this a good client? Number two is finding out, uh, can I solve their problem? Because if I can't solve your problem, I'm going to direct you to someone that it can,
Right.
right? Are we a good fit? That kind of goes in the same thing. And then number three is, okay, they're a good fit. I can solve their problem.
Yeah.
Coming up with a verbal contract or commitment. Hey, I have some ideas. I'm willing to do XYZ to solve XYZ, right? And it will cost this much, right? And there's a system behind that too, right? I'm not going to dive into all of that.
Mhm.
Once they say, yep, that sounds great, then I provide them with the contract, right? That's next step. Provide the client with the contract. And that contract is going to go over all of your terms, whatever they might be. And I find that over time, sometimes it takes time to figure out what those terms are going to be.
Okay.
Why? Because you have to go through certain circumstances
Okay.
as a videographer, as a shooter, to know, oh, I don't want this again, or I don't want that again, right? So you kind of have to build out your terms.
So you do weddings. So tell me, what would it be an example of like a certain terms that you would put for a wedding? Would you be like a certain amount of like revisions and what are the deliverables? How does that work?
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to a wedding specifically, some of the things in the terms are, okay, you were at a event and they didn't offer you anything to drink or eat, right?
Right.
If I'm going to a wedding, I'm eating at the wedding, right? So
Okay.
that's one of the terms inside the contract. It's a light term,
Mhm.
but from being in situations where if someone's serving food, everybody's eating, and I don't get a chance to eat, it's been an 8-hour day. Like, hey, that's just part of my terms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Another term would be like how soon I'm gonna have the wedding film delivered to the client, right? Some people will say 6 months. I've come up with my own terms that how I'm gonna deliver the film.
So time frame wise, what do you think? What's that look like?
I would say time frame rise, I like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
4 to 6 weeks. I feel like that is a very prompt delivery. Well, not very prompt. Some people will do like a next day, but that all depends on like the size of the team as
So
well.
that's like I guess pictures, video, whatever.
I,
Just
I
like
don't do photos, I do videos, right?
only
So
video.
that's full wedding film, highlight video, and the raw footage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do everything. Okay. All that stuff to get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They get all of that, right? And then what else would I say I put in the terms? In the terms for a wedding, no other videographers allowed to be shooting video, right? If you hire me as your videographer, I'm the sole videographer that's going to be shooting video. You can't have like another videographer show up because then it's
Yeah.
just going to mess up the whole flow of the day and the whole chemistry.
I heard a story actually. This is a crazy story. So apparently, there was a wedding and the videographer shot it, had a great time, whatever.
Yeah.
I think a year or two later, they ended up getting divorced, and now the bride or something like that wanted to like, I guess, get the husband or the videographer sued for for the video because they wanted their divorce now. So they go, no, not sued. They wanted a refund
Wow.
because they felt that now that since we're no longer married,
Yeah.
I want a refund for paying all that money for the videographer,
Yeah.
which is
That's crazy.
insane.
That's crazy.
How could that even be a thing? You know?
That's crazy. What does that have to do with me?
Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's nuts.
But that's another term, right? Is refund policy. Do you have a refund policy? Do you not have a refund policy? Another is deposit, right? I need X amount up front,
Okay.
right? And or I need the full amount up front, right? Again, these terms all depend on, it's situational. It depends on the
Okay.
type of video, depends on the client. And it depends on even your history with the client, right? You
Mhm.
could have worked with the client in the past and maybe something didn't go the way that you wanted to go. Okay, I need a little bit more control, right, in the situation
Mhm.
because and everything's negotiable, right? But there are certain things that, like for instance, I shot a promotional video for somebody and we agreed on a deposit and then we agreed that after the video was completed,
Right.
the remaining balance would be delivered upon completion of the video, right?
True.
So I received a deposit to shoot the video, shot the video, edited the video, didn't deliver it, but gave them a file so they could see what the video looked like. And then it took several weeks for me to
Oh
get the
wow.
final payment for the video, right? So the next time that I would shoot with this person, it's going to be full amount due up front. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now you understand how the terms can change. It's just based on our relationship and how we've done business in the past.
Yeah.
And how you conducted yourself in the past depends on how I would like to do business with you going forward.
So they have that thing as a net 30. That's what they say for 30 days for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
getting payments. So that's why I like the last shoot I did, it was, small little behind the scene footage for this church or whatever. And like I said before, I'm there. I was only there for a couple hours, but I was kind of like, oh no, I wasn't thinking anything. I was just more so just like I'd never been to a shoot, and they never offered me anything to drink,
Yeah.
to eat. They're making food. I'm filming them make the food, whatever. And that one person said, "Hey, want something to eat or I want to drink or anything?" Which is so weird to me. I know I shouldn't make a big deal because I got paid for it. It's all good, but I was just like, huh. That's the first time it's ever happened, right?
Yeah.
So I was asking around about this, this having a conversation. And like, yeah, everyone's like, that's never, very not very hospitable, I should say, right? I'm
Yeah.
just like,
I
yeah,
like
this is, I guess it is true, right? And I was like, huh, it's a church, right? But what are you gonna do, right? I guess it's how it goes. But I don't know, man. One of those things I was just like,
No, that's crazy. That's
you
crazy.
know,
Usually, I would say that's the last place that you would expect to go to and film and not get.
I've never been. I just never, and I think also a part of me is like, is it my expectations? But also it's just like common decency is kind of just like because it's never happened before, and I've gone to places that like it. One time I was working somewhere and like I was doing a job. It was one of my jobs I had, and I went to. We're basically doing HVAC stuff. So went to the guy's house. We take a look at his unit, fix something, whatever. And I'm only there for about an hour. He asked, we're getting paid because through the job we're getting paid regardless.
Yeah.
But he still came out, gave us some money for lunch. Here's
Good.
cash. It was just like want something to drink. I'm like, no, it was just like that's why my standards are like, well, I've been places and everyone's been like, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but it happens, I guess. So what are you gonna do?
What would you say are some of the challenges that you have or are facing as a videographer currently?
Um, Maybe I would say at the current moment, like consistent client acquisition.
Yeah.
I don't have that funnel put up yet. And I think one thing I didn't do when I first started was focus on how I'm going to have a way to have streams of, or not streams, a way of generating clientele,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I more so focused on, like I said, buying gear and getting everything else situated as opposed to
Yeah.
like, well, I have the stuff, but how do I now, get the clients to come? So I built the pitch or what's it called, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I built the field, everything's here,
Yeah.
bases loaded, everything, but I need to get two people in those seats to kind of
Yeah.
watch the game, right? So that's one thing I probably struggle with currently, probably just because, and I think that's due to my part, just not really getting out there and getting active.
Yeah.
I'll share this though. One thing I found that when I was doing was like door to door stuff, essentially going to restaurants, brief introduction, going to gyms, what have you, and giving them my card, and then expecting them to kind of, hey, yeah, sure, we'll give you a call, whatever, right? But then now working, because that's kind of my niche, it was more so gyms and like restaurants.
Okay.
But then seeing how busy these businesses are, really, that's not really top of mind, essentially, right? Marketing is only one portion of their whole budget, and it's a very important one, but they're balancing so much different things that are going on. So I understand that like the relationship wise, or the initial interaction has to be typically like a good like a great start or a great introduction, right?
Mm.
That kind of builds value, shows the benefits, and as well as the long term rewards of actually doing business with me
Yeah.
and doing that kind of stuff, or my business, I should say. So those things I really had to refine, and refining as I continue to go on, right? Because I realized that like going there, giving them a card. If I give it to the guy at the front desk, the guy that makes the final call, he ain't getting it.
Okay.
Or by the time he gets it, he's gonna be like, "What's going on? Who's this for?" Like,
I got you. So just an idea,
yeah.
right? Something that I'm implementing that has been helping, right?
Hmm.
Um, don't mention anything about video.
Okay.
What I have tried to implement recently and I found working
Mhm.
is just asking them specifically about their business. Hey, are you trying to get more clients for your business XYZ,
Right.
right? Like how are you doing with generating leads right now, right? Hey, my name's Jason, and I'm new to the area. I see that you guys have this gym. It looks like a great place. How's your lead generation been going?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Just talk straight to what every business owner, just like yourself, you just
Right.
mentioned you want more leads for your business.
For real.
So does just not every other business owner, but
Mm.
business owners that are seeking more leads. That's what they
Yeah.
want, right? So if you can talk to them about that pain point, sales, right? Talk to them about that pain point and then say, hey, I've helped several other CEOs increase their annual revenue through marketing, and I have some ideas that could really benefit you in your business.
Right. Right.
Would you like to maybe get on a call next week, Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and go over some of those ideas, and then see what they say?
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can dig
Don't
it.
don't even mention
Let me mention
anything
the
about
video.
video. Right?
Yeah.
Just speak to their problem specifically,
Mm.
and let them know that you've helped other people achieve XYZ. As long as you have the credibility to prove it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you have done that, then you can speak to that, right?
Facts.
And then just go from there.
No, that's a good point, man. Because I mean, what I've been doing in the past that has not been reaping any fruit at all is more so like I'm going in, I have my card ready to go. I have a general conversation, but similar like you're saying before, like obviously don't just kind of just go for the kill right away. You know what I mean? Because just like in sales generally, build a rapport. You know what I mean? Reach touch a pain point, and then obviously see how I can assist them. So it's more so like I said, it's a refining. It's a skill set. You know what I'm saying? Being able to
Definitely.
do that, and then because I not understand the customer service portion, but then like being able to unpack and find out what the true issue is. So
Mm.
which is why like that's a good point as opposed to bringing out the video part right away. So I'll definitely try that. And
As a business owner myself, if you came up to me and said, "Hey, I have some ideas on how we can generate 100 more leads for you a week. Are you interested in having coffee so we can talk about it?"
right, right.
I've helped other videographers just like you achieve the same thing
Hmm.
within the last year, right? That's gonna spark my interest and be like, yeah, I would like to hear more about
Yeah.
what you have to say, right?
Hmm.
So
You
yeah,
know,
if you go about it that way, I found that you have more success that way,
I
right?
think that I guess that kind of leads to the next. I have the question I was gonna ask you, but also just ultimately I guess the mindset
Yeah,
is like it's you gotta have confidence. You know what I'm saying? Confidence when you're gonna be out there trying to
yes,
pitch and try to because once again we talk about all the business side getting things implemented,
yeah,
but then ultimately I think this is my word of 2025, right? Execute. Execution, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's like doing it but with confidence. So that's kind of why I can see how, tying in everything and then also ultimately just kind of doing it. Just
yeah,
starting, you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
it's if I haven't done it for a while, if I haven't gone on a sales call or pitching in a while, I'm not saying you if you don't use it, you lose it, but you don't if you don't use it, you do kind of lose it, I think, essentially because you're not really in the mix. You're not your edge, you lose your edge, essentially, you know what I'm saying?
And I agree. You do lose your edge, and that's where, like I was saying, investing in education helps because like coaching, for instance, or having a mentor or having a coach, when you surround yourself with people that are doing the same thing that you're doing,
Yeah.
right? Thinking the same things that you're thinking, you can bounce ideas off of them. they help you to stay sharp,
Yeah.
right? They help you to look at what you're currently doing, how you can improve it. It's
Mhm.
good to invest in education. It's good to invest in a coach. It's good to have mentors or people that you can go to for guidance,
Mhm.
because then you're not just all in your own head trying to figure things out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you're putting yourself in circles where you're constantly being sharpened, right? You're constantly becoming aware of new ideas and new things,
Yeah.
which is great, especially like from like a sales perspective.
Mhm.
I don't know if that really answered the question, bro. You were going
No,
somewhere.
I did, man. Honestly, because like I said before, like my thing is just how do I improve? How do I because I guess one thing is like, am I taking time to really break down? Say I had a sales call, I had a conversation with someone. Am I taking the time to think about what I did well,
Yeah.
what I can improve on? So,
Also, I'm sorry to cut you off, bro, but when we were talking about like that whole process, right?
mhm,
I, you said that you go to gyms and restaurants, right? Another, just a tip is, step one, making sure the client is a good fit, right?
right,
Always got to make sure they're a good fit. I'm sure you do your market research, do your research, check out the gym, right? Find out as much as you can on the front hand about the owner, about who's running the place
right,
before you even attempt to get into this business relationship with them.
right,
Again, just to circle back, everything is spiritual, right?
yeah,
Everything is spiritual. You don't know who you're about to make an agreement with.
that's real.
Yo, it's real, right? Just make
Yeah,
sure you're making agreements with the right people.
mhm,
I think it's beneficial for you and the health of your mental health,
yeah,
physical health, relationship wise. It's just good overall to make sure that whoever you're doing business with is a good fit. So it's more so about, rather than just taking on any and everyone as a client,
right.
no, being selective, selecting who you want as your client.
Well, it's crazy to say that because so when I got my grant, I was excited. It's $10,000. Now this is from it's a grant, so it's not a loan. So the grant you get to do whatever you want with it,
Yeah.
but you got to have receipts to show what you're spending the money on.
Okay.
So when I got my grant, it's for my documentary, and the first month that we actually got to check, I didn't get it personally. It went through the organization.
Mhm.
But with them, they're supposed to disperse some money to me, my little per diem. I can go and buy some supplies, gear, what have you.
Yeah.
Their main job for me was essentially to kind of coordinate interviewees, that kind of stuff, who I
Yeah.
want to talk to, and which was cool. But I still needed money to travel and buy gear, stuff like that, audio equipment, that kind of stuff. They didn't really. They eventually I had to kind of press them. But the thing that's crazy, you talk about like doing working relationships. The first month they were traveling. They went to like Barbados or something like that, and I was
Mm.
like, "Where are you?" "Oh, I'm actually away for a couple weeks. We just got this money." It seemed kind of fishy, right?
Yeah.
And then, long story short, they I will give them credit for doing the networking for me to kind of go to certain places. I had to do majority of it myself, and then traveling it wasn't covered. I got small per diem, whatever from them. But the point is, $10,000. They're traveling, and then towards the deadline of the project was due, they're pressing me. They're pressing me this and that, and I was like, hold on, like you guys were away for how long? And I had the project when I got it done, got submitted, but it's just like the end of the working relationship was so it didn't end well. It didn't end well. And I was just like, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with just like, you know
Yeah.
what? I thought you had good intentions. I thought you were truly genuine, but it almost seemed like my idea was all they needed was just to just to get the bread,
Mm.
just to get the funds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then now really so a few years later, they're kind of reaching out to me, hey, can I get a copy of the film, whatever, whatever. And it's just like I probably felt like you guys took a lot, you guys got all that money, you got all the money, you know what I'm saying? They had to claim, they can claim whatever they want, they can claim, oh, traveling, I can claim whatever, but really and truly, they played a portion, which I give them credit for, but it was my sweat equity, my time. I did it, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of
Yeah.
those things I was just like, I don't know, bro, that kind of left a bad taste. But the lesson overall in that, which was my main point, is that, like, you know what? I can take from that, so I can watch the film, see where I need to improve. I can learn it with the relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't set the terms, like we discussed earlier.
Exactly.
I didn't even discuss it. Okay, so what's this? How's this going to be distributed? How it's going to look like?
Yep.
And that, this, that, and the third, right? And so overall, the lesson was beneficial, going forward in the long run.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of what I was thinking.
Nah, I feel you. And one thing that I will say, I hated working in corporate America, right? But I found that working in corporate America has helped me on how to conduct my business and how to run my business, right? I
Right.
used to run receiving and shipping departments and an inventory control department.
Right.
So I'm giving orders and telling people what they need to get done
Yeah.
in order for us to get the job done, right? And also making agreements with my leadership team on when said projects are going to be completed,
For real.
right? So it's pretty much the same exact thing when you're in business, point blank period, right?
Right.
You have your client, you show them the plan. This is what the plan is. This is what we're agreeing to.
Yeah.
Like, so these things working in corporate America help me with that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes if you don't have that background, navigating in the business space can be difficult. You know what I mean? It can be. It's a learning process. But
Yeah.
what I would say is something that I think would have really helped you in that situation is coming up with some kind of terms or agreement with them beforehand on how the money was actually going to be used, or a plan on what you needed to execute the job. You feel me? Like, hey, I need XYZ for me to get this, this, and this to film the documentary.
Yeah.
We need these things because it's going to benefit XYZ, right? And even maybe showing them how them investing that money into the documentary is going to end up bringing them more money in the long term.
And once again, this was just like, I didn't know. I was more so just, it was green, right? We didn't know. And I get it, but I think I can learn from it now, and I could share with people actual, lessons from that, because I didn't ask that at all. I just simply had an idea, and
Yeah.
I wanted to get it up. And that was the kind of biggest thing. They kind of gave me an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I took it. So ultimately, that was, the grand scheme. That was the main lesson of it. But like I said,
Go ahead.
that's what I'm saying, going forward, it's just like, I do plan to do other documentaries in the future. And then, like, in the event that anything happened again, I would obviously go ahead and have those terms and, negotiables, those kind of things, what needs to be delivered and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest pieces. Like, one of those things, if I was going to start my video business all over again, it is learning how to set terms and conditions with clients, right? Like, there's a lot of, like, learning how to shoot video, learning how to capture. There's a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But from the business aspect, there's a lot to learn as well. And I'm in that learning process now, bro. I'm right there with you.
Right.
Like, when I say I'm right there with you, I'm right there with you. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm currently learning and implementing that's helping me in my business.
Right.
Right. CRM stands for customer relationship management. Right. So it's how you manage the relationships with your customers, essentially how you communicate with your customers.
Yeah.
Right. About what's going on in your business. So number one, you have to have like a list. You need a list of whoever your customers are, or the customers that you want to have, right?
Yeah.
Your email list, essentially, right? And how you communicate with them about what your business is doing, what you're offering,
Yeah.
newsletter, things of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what CRM is.
I was gonna ask you, do you have anything you're working on right now? Any kind of passion projects or anything you're currently in the works with?
Passion projects. I do not have any passion projects right now. I don't have any passion projects, but when I find myself in the space to have a passion project, it's going to be a project that I do completely for free,
Right.
right? And it's going to drive revenue for like a nonprofit organization that needs help.
That's decent.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, my next passion project is going to be finding an organization that is in need of the services that I provide, right?
Right.
Providing the service to them free of charge, and just to help them with whatever it is they're
That's
trying to accomplish.
actually that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
If you could be shooting any kind of content right now, right? What kind of videos do you want to shoot for other people? What is your niche? What do you want to shoot for other people?
It would probably most likely be something that would have to do with like a sports kind of training montage kind of style,
Okay.
or it would also be um either like a food preparation type of kitchen vibe. I think I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's kind of off the top of the head what I feel like I would want to do.
I got you.
Um, I think this for the sake of like I used to be a personal trainer,
Okay.
so I know that world.
You have background
I
in it.
have background in that, right? So I get it. So also, like I said, shooting the montage is easy, but like I think one thing I thought about too is that like showing the client's perspective,
Mm.
something like that, because working in the gym, my old gym I used to work in, the front of the gym. I don't know if most gyms are kind of similar, built the same way. Are full of ellipticals and like treadmills and everything, right?
Yeah.
And then the deeper you go in, is it got the weights and all the kind of dumbbells and everything. And the reason why I see those are typically filled with those who maybe don't have the best physique per se is because a lot of them are intimidated by just going to the weight. They don't know what to do. They're kind of insecure. They're with themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the point the fact they're in the gym is like great. It's good. I'm glad you're here, right?
Yeah.
We're not here to judge anyone. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you're here is like you could be, you know what I mean? It's not easy to come here. I get it. Everyone has, things to do in life, and like it's not always a priority, but is necessary. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'd say showing them like gaining the confidence, because having clients who have been, I had a client who was in a kind of an abusive relationship, and the gym was her outlet. She
Yeah.
worked for me so hard in the gym because her life outside of the gym was so stressful. But I seen how she's transformed herself. So like that's a story in itself, right?
Yeah.
How like that's a good idea. Or even just the woman who divorcee, and she is just like, man, if I hadn't come here, I don't know what I'd be doing, whatever. So you're seeing so kind of highlighting those kind of stories, because ultimately something like that, and let's just say tied into Good Life Fitness or whatever gym it is, random night, random gym. I used to work at Good Life Fitness. That's my old gym,
Yeah.
and how going to that gym now help me gain confidence in X, Y, and Z amount and whatever, what have you. So that in that sense, it can kind of tie it all together. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that made sense. I don't know if I kind of
Nah. It makes sense. It
Yeah.
makes sense. It definitely makes sense. That's your background. And you have experience as a trainer. You also have experience as a client that goes to the gym.
Yeah.
So you can kind of you have a good understanding of how to benefit a trainer. What kind of content would you have wanted for yourself when you were a trainer to
Yeah.
promote your own business, right? I think thinking in that aspect while you're targeting your
That's
clients,
actually a brilliant
right?
idea.
Think about that. Like
Yeah.
what content did you want as a trainer
Yeah.
and providing that content for a trainer, right? That could be your specific niche and you could speak to them because you know exactly
smart.
what they're going through. You know their struggles. You know what it's like not to have clients or where to find clients or how to keep clients, right? Or what you would have done to keep a client that you lost, right? Like think of it from that perspective and I think you'll find yourself serving the people that you want to serve
So
better
better.
because you know where they're coming from, right? It's
Dope.
just like videography, right? I want to serve what I want to get into is we live in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's known as a financial capital in the United States.
Right.
But I want to help financial professionals grow their online presence so they can create more revenue for their businesses, right? Not only that, that's one aspect. That's like when it comes to Good Look Productions, my production company, that's what I want to focus on.
Right.
But more so when it comes to my personal brand or just me as a person, I really enjoy helping other videographers or other people that are into video, specifically beginners, because I know what it's like.
Right.
I've walked the path for years now.
Yeah.
I know certain pitfalls and I know what to avoid and what I wish I would have done.
Done for
And I
you.
can speak to all of that to help those people to be years ahead of what I am at currently, right? Or at least cut out 12 years of the 14 years that I've been doing this for you. You know what I'm saying?
Same time,
Yeah, bro. But last thing, Matt, I just want to say thank you for showing up on the show today.
Appreciate
Thank you
bro.
for being here. Thank you for sparking just the idea to go ahead and collaborate and do this,
Yeah,
right? If you
man,
didn't give me
anytime.
that call, then this never would have took place, bro. So I want to say thank you for calling me.
Cool.
Thank you for reaching out, bro. Thank you for just communicating, man. And lastly, could you just let the people know where they can find you? That's you right there, your camera right there.
So if you want to find me, first of all, let me give you mad props because I appreciate you, bro. Good look, you know what I'm
You
saying?
already know.
So you can find me on IG, Uptown Views Media. You can hit me up there, and just hopefully look up for some new content coming up, man. Because like I said, try to implement what I've learned today, and then kind of just build from there. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's like it's about growing every single day, and then I want to end it with just like obedience, and then mantra 2025 is just execution. You know what I'm saying?
Obedience and
So
execution, all
yeah,
2025.
that's real.
Yeah, I'm with it,
So
bro. I'm with it. I'm with it.
cool.
So, guys, again, it's your boy Jason. It's the Good Look Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.